Alright, so the strings are all drawn out. I started pipe maker, so there's pipe maker in the background. Back in model maker, I will now just go to freehand mode. I'm going to send my DTM, my model, terrain model, as well as my strings to pipe maker. Just before I do that, I want to make sure that in pipe maker my actual work mode is water. That's sort of the prerequisite for us. Then I want to go to my data, design defaults, and this is where you will set your general defaults. When it receives a pipe, pipe maker will apply these settings as your general settings starting off the pipeline. What is quite important here is your minimum cover. So at any point where there is a bend point, it will elevate it. In fact, if you tell it to go parallel to the ground, because it's a water pipe, it will add additional nodes, as it were, into the pipeline to make sure that it follows the contours properly. So that's quite an important setting right there. The rest I'll talk about as soon as we get into it. So I'll just say okay for now. Oh yes, and just remember your pipe reference file. This is something you can edit. It's for, in this case, main UPVC, and you can go insert your different diameters. So this is the pipe name, nominal diameter, and then you have your inside and outside diameter, and then you can set up your classes. That's, yeah, so you can build a list. I'm just going to use what's here and see how far we get. Just save that file if you need to. You can even give it a new name if you like. I'm not going to bother with that right now. So you set your general pipe diameter and your pipe class. Now I like to do my pipeline sizing in Model Maker with the Area Maker program. I generally would use Pipe Maker just to do the design drawing, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's go to OK. It's just moaning about the friction factor. So this is Hayes and Williams. I would probably use something like 140. If you go to the help file here, there is prescribed friction values. 140 would be sort of a medium base friction for new and used pipes, so it's quite a nice friction value to use there. Alright, so let's go back to Model Maker. Another thing I want to do is, I didn't do it earlier, I'm going to go to my strings, just go to Info, and just click on each segment, and let's call this section 1. I'm just going to copy this. That is section 2. This tells me that there are other strings connected to that one and should be updated basically. And 4. Right, so that's the picture I've got in Model Maker. As I said, rather size your whole line inside Model Maker. That's a whole different topic, by the way. So we would go to DTM to Pipe Maker, and that is done. So if you go to Pipe Maker, you'll see the outline sitting there. You won't see any contours in Pipe Maker. And then we would go to Strings to Pipe Maker. Right, so the whole pipeline laid out for us. I would now activate my first excuse me, my first segment, and now it just wants to apply my settings. Now we can talk about each one of these, but I would recommend you can read the help file there. It's quite simple. You just put your cursor on any one of these, it gives you information of the boxes. What you would want to look at is this bedding class. You have your different bedding classes, and that just defines the way that the pipe is placed, the type of bedding material, how it should be compacted, or what the granular bed or whatever bedding material is used. But the important part is to know how the volume would be excluded from the pipes. You'll see each bedding type is a little bit different. There's a bit of a different way that it approaches each. You can see that one is just pipe laying on the ground. So it's a rigid pipe on class B bed. Right, so you can read up on all of that. Now, bear in mind that the help file is also written for stormwater and sewers. So, but if you read through all of this, you'll find what is applicable to water pipelines. Now, the program itself is not a pipe sizing program. So there's a lot of manual inputs. It's not a very complicated advanced program. So I'm just for now gonna say okay. What it's happening now is it asks me how do I want to elevate the pipeline. So I'm gonna say just parallel to the ground, and I'm gonna say create bend points at intervals of 10 or 20 meters or whatever you want to do. Alright, so there it just basically places the pipeline underground. Now I didn't name the manholes or the bend points. So let me just look at your model there. It seems, I just want to see what your elevations are doing. I'm pressing F5 and I'm just viewing your slopes. Okay, so it's going in that direction. Alright, so that is downhill, so we're pumping uphill. So our pump is in the other side. Okay, so that means the string was drawn from this side to that side. I actually want to flip that around. So what I'll do is I'll just go to pipe maker. It's actually good that that happens. I'd like to work uphill. Okay, so I'd like to set my pump on the other side, and to do that I have to change the direction of the whole string. So what will help me in Model Maker is if I just go to Info, Display, and put the name on the start of the string. You can see the name written there, section 1, so I'm just going to flip that around. And there's a button here called Indicate Start, and you just click on the string and it flips it around. Alright, now the start's on that side. You can just check all of them. Yeah, that seems to be usable. And go back to Pipe Maker and just clean this all out. Clear and new. Right, so I go back to Model Maker and just send that again. DTM and strings. Maybe I was too quick for the strings. Let's go back and just try it again. Taking a bit longer this time, so it's thinking. Okay. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Let's just restart Pipe Maker. Okay, just make sure it's set to water. Good. And DTM go and strings go. Go to Pipe Maker. There we have it. Okay, so I'm gonna stop this video here. Make it end of section number 2.